People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in each and every time. It means a lot for your consistent support. And if you're here for the first time, in fact, if you're here full stop, please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you have a comment in mind in relation to the end of this video. And obviously, don't forget to like. Now, obviously, it's been a decent weekend for Arsenal. We won the Community Shield, another piece of silverware. You know, Arteta, been in it for a bit now, 2 finals, you know, two trophies. And for me, it's a long way to go in relation to if Arteta is going to be a success here. But he's gone against Klopp twice in recent months or whatever, done quite well, and he's done well in general in all big games, obviously City and Chelsea included. Like I said, remains to be seen if Arteta's the man, but he deserves my full support, which he gets, because he's showing me everything that I feel was being missed with previous management at this club, really and truly. Time will tell. Now, Maitland, Niles, he had a great performance, you know, and all the team played well in it. It's a final. We're not going to do it alone. Of course, individuals make the difference, and when you look at the highlights, you know, Saka and Aubameyang. In fact, the whole team's moved for Aubameyang's goal, another blueprint of Arteta. But, you know, Aubameyang's going to be the one with the headlines. Martinez made some saves and things like that. Maitland-Niles played well. The whole team did. But forward to Maitland-Niles. Now his future's in the balance. For me, I believe he can have a future here. For one reason or another, he's not being given a role in midfield. I do think he could lock down a midfield role and be a specialist in a certain central midfield role, as well as even playing right back. I said it in the last video, but look at Kimmich. Now, if you probably asked him, he probably wants to play central midfield, but he plays both well. It's obviously you run the risk of becoming a jack of all trades, master of none, and that's for a different debate. But I do think people underestimate versatility. Like I said, not too many men can play everywhere because you've got square pegs and round holes. But you do need one, ideally 2 men in a side that can obviously play a couple of roles and play them well. Maitland-Niles in recent weeks has shone on the left-hand side. Obviously, with Cedric coming to the club and Bellerin's future and the jury out on Cedric, better yet, we're all looking at Maitland-Niles, to move over to the right-hand side and lock it down. You know, you look at Milner, he can play in a couple of roles and play them well, and has done throughout his whole career. Maitland's had a great 24 hours. On Monday, he'll join up at St George's with the England team. Fingers crossed he gets a cap, you know. Hopefully, he's the only player, you know, that's got experience at left back or close to that in that England team. So maybe he gets a cap. He's been called up to the England team. He's won another trophy on his birthday. And he had quite the interesting cake on Instagram. He's a real guy. I see him with the Henny bottle and that. But, yeah, now, you know, there's been a lot of talk of him leaving the club. And he played quite coy on reports, as did Arteta, people. Apologies, people. Where is it? Admittedly, people, I can't find the exact quotes, but oh, sorry, people, here it is. He has to be able to convince me every day in training that he can compete at this level, not once every 3 months, but every 3 days. The way he's playing at the moment is showing me that he can do it. His mentality and the way he is going about every single detail about the preparation of football is much better than before. I'm delighted and very happy for him, because he's really changing a lot of things around him to become the player he can be. And clearly there is something with Maitland, but Arteta met him with some sort of friction because he wanted to kind of, you know, you can tell a player as much as you want, but at some time you have to provoke the inspiration in him. And maybe Maitland-Niles thought, Arteta doesn't like me, I'm not playing. And there was talk about training levels, which Arteta alluded to, but he swapped it around. And again, highlighting how good Arteta is of a manager so far, because he's got a reaction out of him. Previously, Ceballos, Mustafi had a bit of a revival, and there's other players here and there, you know, and the young players in particular. Maitland-Niles, for me, can have a future at this club in some capacity. Do I think he's ever going to be, you know, the Aubameyang, the sort of showstopper? Of course not. That's not his job. But what I'm hoping is that he remains a competent and consistent player. Apologies, people. Apologies. And like Arteta says, you want him to be able to do this multiple times. You know, bad games happen, you know. It was great playing against Liverpool, and he's played great in the FA Cup run. But it all kind of means nothing if you start against Fulham and make a mistake. So we want him to do this all the time, you know. And I think Maitland can be a part of this. Clearly the club do, because he was one of the few youngsters at a time which was name dropped by Unai Emery, and it was contracted for a high length of time. Apologies, people. He's contracted until 2023. Apparently, you know, Wolves have ended their pursuit on the player. A mixture between being unable to meet Arsenal's asking price or being at loggerheads. Obviously, the England call-up and recent form is going to boost interest. For me, I'm happy. I'm a big Maitland Niles fan. I'm a big fan of this revival. If that ends the pursuit, then we obviously have a player we can utilise in our team. There's even talk on that Sky Sports article I read in relation to Wolves ending their pursuit of him, that he's actually in line for a new deal at Arsenal. And, you know, I understand it, and this is what I want to see. You know, if he's getting called up to the English side and he's playing well, let's protect our value to say if you do want to sell him, which I don't agree with. Eddie Nketiah, forgive me if I'm wrong, and he's irrelevant to this, but he's contracted until 2022. We're a couple of years, a man said years, we're a couple of months away from 2021. He'll have a year left or so. Are we going to protect our value? Because whether he has if he has a future at Arsenal long term, great, I believe in Eddie. But if not, can we get 20 or 30 on this player who's going to play more football under Arteta and whatnot, and get top dollar to reinvest in our squad? I'm a fan of Maitland Niles. I really hope that this is the end of any speculation with moves. Obviously, he's changed agent, and you know, and there's been all of these sort of things. So there's a long way to go, people. Because as much as Maitland's been playing well, you could say on a cynic thing, we all know Maitland shouldn't be one of the first players to go, but we've got mediocre players, to put it nicely, on high-end wages, and then we probably can't move on the players that need to be moved on. So when you're looking at players that can probably make a little change in this team, Maitland Niles is one of them. And the cynic, you know, like I said with Mustafi, you know, if Maitland isn't in Arteta's plans and, you know, playing in this form and doing all of these sort of things, it's only going to make his price go up, and then, you know, we're definitely looking at that 30 million. I'm happy if this is true, he signs a new deal, he stays at the club. Apparently the club want to keep him. Apparently, I think the club do want to keep him. I think Maitland actually wanted to leave because he wants to see how he really features and where he can play the next couple of years of his future. You know, if Arteta said he keeps believing in him, Arteta's been honest and said, I believe in you, but you kind of need to show me a bit more. He's talking about consistency because he sees something in Maitland. You know, if we can do that and be part of the squad, I'm all for all that, people. I'm really all for homegrown players and things like that. And it's a good bit of form for us, because obviously if he's playing in form and he's developing and becoming more important, that's only going to boost Arsenal's case. Like I said in the last vid, Southgate needs to bring, you know, my man back into the team, people. What's his face? Saka, well, back into the team. He needs to call him up. It's decent. Again, it's still early days in the window. There's still going to be speculation over Maitland Niles, Rob Holding, and actually Martinez, who, you know, the Athletic report produced a report on Saturday saying, you know, you're going to sell him and things like that for as low as 10 million. Apparently he's close to a new deal based on reports, so we don't know. Again, Martinez, sorry, has been in decent form. Clearly, I believe is the number one right now, is his spot to believe. I think Arteta's number one is Leno, but Martinez is playing form. And again, I don't want to draw too many conclusions, but, you know, one started against MK Dons, one started in the Community Shield. Of course, Leno is working his way back from injury and all of these sort of things, people. But at the same time, you know, apparently Leno was even fit for the FA Cup final, people. Obviously, he wasn't going to play for obvious reasons, but if he's fit then, you know, now it's Martinez's to lose. And again, for me, it's about getting the top dollar. You know, if you're not Thierry Henry, for me, if you're not Lionel Messi or Ronaldo, any player within reason is replaceable. That doesn't mean I want anyone to go. That just means with current football, selling players are a thing. Any players is free to do what they want, provided we can get top dollar for them. So again, if we can tie down Martinez beyond 2022, he keeps playing well and he does want to leave. If Leno comes and takes the spot, it is what it is, you know. That is the elephant in the room. We'll see how that situation develops, people. It's a bit like Quartar and Trek. You kept them for a year. Something has to give. You've now, you know, it's a bit different, but, you know, our rivals of sorts in Manchester United, Dean Henderson, England and United future in an ideal world, 6-year deal. You've got De Gea, whose form's been indifferent, but he's done a lot in the game. Something has to give there. So we'll see how these things develop. But for now, I've got nothing more to add. It's always a pleasure. Deluded, I'm out.